What's happening, Hoodlum Gang? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Hoodie from the Hood, aka your friend from that big O N, aka the world's most dangerous YouTuber, and I'm back at y'all with another video. But before we get started, y'all already know what to do, man. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe to become a part of the Hoodlum Gang. Share the video, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and go on over to IG and follow me at Hoodie from the Hood. Also, shout out to Tazo TV. I know a few days ago, y'all seen me and him had a misunderstanding, but like men, with mutual respect for each other, we got on the phone, we hollered at each other. Some things had got misinterpreted, you know what I mean? But shout out to him for being man enough to accept my invitation to have a conversation. And Tazo a real one, regardless of what some of y'all may think. My interactions with him has been nothing but genuine. So shout out to you, homie. Keep doing your thing, homie. Now, as for the topic, y'all see why the streets aren't the same anymore. This stems from, I had a conversation with one of the homies the other day and we talked about this. But also, I always see some of these older YouTubers talk about how it was in their day and how it is now and the difference. Cartoon spoke on it the other day. I don't remember what the video was called. OGENT, Bam, a lot of these dudes, Gangbangers Life Coach, a lot of them speak on how things was and how different it is nowadays compared to back then. And they're not wrong about that. They're absolutely 100% correct. It's way different. But there's reasons why, and we'll get to that. But back to the video that Cartoon did the other day when he was talking about the dress code and how people, when he goes back to his hood, when he's up at South Park or whatever the case, and he said people with these skinny jeans and these shirts showing their ribs and, wearing their work uniform, pulling up to the hood, all that. He's absolutely correct about all that. That goes on everywhere. I 100% agree with him that it has changed. Things were different back in the days. Of course, I wasn't around. Well, even in my era coming up, it was different than what it is now. But I wasn't around in the 80s and the 90s. But just looking at pictures of our G homies and all that, you can tell that, it was a lot different, the dress code. Like he said, there was a uniform back in the days. Now, if you wear that uniform, especially consistently, people will try to look down upon you or crack their little jokes when you sticking by the code. You know what I mean? As far as the dress code, they'll look down upon you as if you outdated. You know what I mean? You see people do it on their hood days, or funerals, or certain occasions, maybe a video shoot. That's when you'll see people come with the traditional uniform, whether it be the khakis, the Levi's, whatever the case, whatever you consider. You can go watch them old movies, whether it be Colors, Menace to Society. You see the dress code. Not only that, there's two IG channels that you can follow that I follow. One is I think it's Rip Ride Archives. It's pretty much a page with pictures of old school Crips. And then you got We Love LA County, who, despite the name, they don't just post LA gangs. They post San Diego, Sacramento, IE, whatever the case. And they post Crips and Bloods. So you can go on those channels and see that everybody had the same uniform, especially in Southern California. Whether you was Crip or Blood, it was just a different color. But somewhere over the course of time, the uniform started to change. I would say it changed for Crips and Bloods first, and now you see the SA switching it up too. You don't necessarily see the old SA that look like them little homie toys. You don't really see that no more. That's a dying thing for them too. It took them a lot longer to come around to it. But yeah, like I said, there was an actual dress code at a point in time where you could tell who was banging. Now, I mean, you could tell who's banging based on how they carry themselves, they body movements, they gestures, they facial expressions, and they tattoos. You know what I mean? So you know. But if you was to just drive by, you couldn't be like, that nigga is from this hood, or he's a Crip, or he's a Blood. To a certain extent, you might be able to say that, but overall, you can't, because everybody looked the same. And I was one of them ones that was anti skinny jeans and all that for a long time too. And then, you know, I wouldn't say I have the skinniest jeans like some of you niggas, but you know, they a lot more fitted than they used to be, even 5 years ago. You know, it's just a sign of the times. But Cartoon was saying how they used to build from the east side to the west side, whatever, deep, and you could tell who was banging. Nowadays, you can't do that. And I'm going to get into that in a second, why you can't do that. But even a pack of young gang members now, the way they dress, walking down the street in a certain area is still going to bring attention from the police or enemies riding by. So it don't really matter what you wear, but I do understand what he's saying about niggas wearing Crocs and shit like that. Like, bro, just because you ain't wearing a khaki suit don't mean you got to wear Crocs and all this funny looking shit. What is them I don't know, is they Balenciagas or is they Yeezys? I don't know. They look weird. They look like astronaut sandals. Like, I don't know what the hell they are, and they got holes in them. Like, just because you ain't got the corduroy house shoes on like back in the days don't mean you got to wear that bullshit. But to each his own. I think the main reason why the dress code has changed is because people just want to fly under the radar a lot more nowadays than they did. Now you could say to yourself, well, it don't really matter if niggas is on social media throwing up gang signs, niggas is in videos, the police already know your face. I get it. But just imagine, I don't know if y'all seen when I went to Hood Day in LA this year and I got the royal blue khaki suit on with the royal blue chucks. Just imagine if niggas was dressing like that every day, like how they used to. If you look on the album of the Nationwide Rip Riders or the Damu Riders, all that. Imagine if niggas was dressing like that to this day, where the law has cracked or they're trying to crack down a lot more on that type of activities than they did in the past. Not to say they wasn't in the past, but you get what I'm saying. First of all, if it's 10, 20 of us walking down the street dressed like that, the police is coming. You also have to protect yourself because you're more of a target when you're putting yourself out there like that. Banged out like that from head to toe, the enemy's going to be on you. So the police going to be like, oh, him dressed like that with a blue rag on his head, Aunt Jemima style, like this is 1988. Nigga, they're going to assume you got some type of weapon. So they're going to want to come holler at you. You know what I mean? Or you might just be on parole or probation and be in violation of your parole or probation for hanging out with documented gang members. I don't know if they do that everywhere, but in San Diego, your ass going in jail, you get caught with a gang member. You could go to jail for something petty and end up doing way more time just on violations alone than your original case, because they take you to jail for the smallest stuff out here. So yeah, I think it's more so people flying under the radar. And like I said, even with the Hispanics, homie, you don't see the bald-headed cholo no more. Like that's very rare, unless he just can't grow hair. 9 times out of 10, they didn't grew their hair out and covered them tats up. It's a different time, homie. You don't see, like these movies, you don't see that. It's very rare that you will see 20 niggas just standing there looking banged out like they in a movie or like you hopped in a time machine and went back to 92. Like it's different, homie. And the OGs got to take accountability for all the dust they kicked up back in the days. When they always talking about how it was and all these shootings and all this going on and how it was like the Wild Wild West. Well, that's the reason why it's not like that now, because the police have implemented these gang injunctions and these gang enhancements and these 3 strikes laws and all this. It amazes me that they haven't implemented it in some of these other cities with high crime rates. That will probably, deter people from doing some of the stuff that they do. But as long as they know that they can get away with it, they're going to keep on wilding out. Like I said, they was able to do stuff back then that we can't do now, but they expect for us to uphold that same reputation in 2023. And it's just not reality, because now people was trying to be smart. People was trying to outsmart the police. I think back in the days, they didn't give a fuck about the police. It was just whatever. But at the same time, some of these dudes could commit the same amount of crime, the same type of crime that we commit today, and they'll be home in 4 years, 5 years. And nowadays, if you commit that same crime, you might be looking at 15 to 20 years. No L, but still 15 to 20 years. So it's like, now you got to use your brain. You can't just be out here shermed out, busting on niggas in broad daylight. You know what I mean? It's too much technology going on. It's cameras everywhere. It's too many snitches. It's your enemies will snitch on you, whether they doing it on purpose or not. You know, just by getting on social media and talking about it. You know what I mean? Like I said, one of the little homies did something last year, allegedly, and went to jail. And the enemies is on Instagram and on live, taunting them and laughing about it. You know what I mean? Dry snitching. But that's what these niggas do nowadays. So you can't conduct yourself how they did in 1985 and think you finna be out here for a long time. It's just not gonna happen, homie. And like I said, we could debate what was harder or whatever. In a sense, it was harder for them back in the days because the gangbanging was at its peak. The black population was higher, so it was a higher chance of you running into some niggas that's on the same shit as you, just stepping out your door every day. And like I said, when people didn't necessarily fear the repercussions because it was so much going on and everybody thought they was going to get away with it, so they was quicker to react. Now everybody's like, hold on, cause you know it's cameras over here. Oh, nigga, the Johnny's is right down the street. People think more. You know what I mean? And only dumb niggas will look at a nigga that's smart and be like, oh, that's watered down. That's the only way you're going to survive out here. You got to use this. You can't go off of emotion, homie. You got to use this if you want to stay alive and stay free out here. Do your thing, but make sure you do your thing the right way. So that's why I think the streets have changed, homie. Is technology, is the laws getting more strict. Like I said, we are expected to uphold this reputation of our hoods, homie, and still get away with it in a time where it's hard to get away with it. You know what I'm saying? So you could debate that it's harder now than it was back then. It was easier to get away with shit. It was easier to get popped. It was easier to pop somebody. Nowadays, depending on who you talk to, like I said, some homies, they're instilling that for you to be smart. You know what I mean? And then you got other homies like, nigga, this ain't nothing like back in the days. Well, I don't think y'all was too smart back in the days. I think y'all was just, nigga, trained to go. Y'all wasn't thinking. Now, we got to be trained to go and think. You see where the conflict of interest comes in? I can't just react if I have to think. So that's why I think the streets are different. No, they will not be the same. I personally wish I could step into a time machine and go back and be a part of that time. I feel like it was just a realer era. That ain't no slight to this era. It's a lot of young riders and reputables out nowadays, but nowadays can't compare to back in the days, homie. So that's my opinion on why the streets are different. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Am I right? Did I miss something? Is there something else that y'all want to add to the list of things and reasons why I said the streets are different? Y'all let me know in the comments below, man. This your boy Hoodie from the Hood. Your friend from that big O end. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I'm out.